Sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live on this Saturday morning with another edition of Saturday Sports Freestyling, where today we're going to be talking about anything you want to talk about sports. So if you're out there in the chat, hit us up with any questions you have, and we will do our best to answer all of your questions. We got a nice slate here today on today's show. We got our man Mossberg of Level Up Sports 10 here with us this morning. How you feeling, Mossberg?
Man, I'm feeling pretty good, man. Another Saturday. I was up late, up early, so ready to freestyle as we do, man. Great to see all the screens, post-game, SEC Sean, and you yourself as well. It's just good to see everybody this Saturday morning.
Yeah, good to see you as well. We also got our man Post Game of the Post Game 86 podcast. How you feeling, Post Game?
Hey man, just trying to keep the bread cheesy. Good to see y'all this morning.
For sure, for sure. And we also got our man SEC Sean, who did a fantastic NASCAR Part 1 for beginners yesterday. If you get a chance, go back, check it out on SEC Sean's podcast. You will be amazed at how fantastic a sport NASCAR racing is. Go check him out at SEC Sean on YouTube. How you feeling this morning, SEC Sean?
We're feeling good. I appreciate it. I'm just, love the good positive feedback. Just trying to, like I said on the intro, just trying to bring this sport that I love to more people, to let them realize that this is something. It's something.
Yeah.
Y'all heard the cost yesterday. If you go back and watch, you'll be like, what in the world? Where is this money coming from? They're like printing their own.
Yeah, for sure. Those of you out there in the chat, make sure that you go and check out the screen. The bottom of the screen, all of those channels at the bottom. Our man Mossberg do a lot of wonderful interviews on Level Up Sports 10 with all kinds of local talent, talent from all over the country. Go and check out some of his interviews on Level Up Sports 10. Also, our man post game does a lot of updates on Notre Dame sports. So if you're a huge Notre Dame sport, if you want to hear about some sports in the Midwest, go check out our man post game at the Post Game 86 podcast. This show today is sponsored by KT's Good Eats LLC. Go check them out over there on Lockbourne Road, right there in the plaza across from. Is it Doghouse Pizza or Hound Dogs Pizza?
Doghouse Pizza.
Doghouse Pizza. Go check it out. What's the address?
2044 Lockbourne Road. Man, I'm telling you, like you said, man, come out and get them eats, man. It's all I can say.
Yeah. Go out there and support his food truck, man. Him and his wife, they got a banging business over there. Go check them out. Everybody, I'm quite sure, seen that game last night between Clemson and Louisville. I think it was a clean sweep on the show. Everybody picked Clemson to win this game. What did y'all think about that game? And has the ACC really put themselves in a bind?
I think so, man. Being an ACC guy, I haven't seen a conference like this, I don't think at all. Like, in recent memory, I really can't even think of the last time the ACC has been like this, especially when you got a team that's primed to win the national championship preseason that's 5-5. After a win yesterday. So, for me, it's crazy. This ACC is something to see, but wide left ×2 with a botched punt. Louisville had every aspect, every way to win this game, but they blew it. And if you know in the ACC, wide left is something that haunts teams in the ACC. It comes down to big games all the time, from rivalries, and now you've seen it in the game last night. And, it was good to see Clemson. Randall, who was a converted wide receiver to running back, he actually had about 130-plus all-purpose yards, a couple of touchdowns on the rushing side, went over 100 yards. And, it's just good to see Clemson doing what they're doing. Still late in the season, even though they had a tough start, they closing the season out strong. And if you go look at the last month or so of Cade Klubnik, he's actually looking like he's positioned himself to move up in this late push for NFL draft stock as the season closes. He's at about, I think, 12 touchdowns, one or two interceptions. So it's just a great win. And it's a lot of talk that I haven't been talking about Dabo not being in Clemson. So enjoyed that last night.
Yeah, that's interesting, Moss, because last night when I was watching the game, I got a text from a friend who said he thought this would be Dabo's last season in Clemson. So, but as far as the game went, um, the lack of discipline from a Dabo Sweeney team
Yeah,
really caught my eye. In the ACC in particular, the lack of discipline across the board was something I didn't expect coming into the season. Clemson did what they supposed to do though at the end of the day and got the win. Uh, I think Louisville, I really like that coaching staff there, as I mentioned previously. I think they're a quarterback short of being in ACC contention. Uh, in ACC contention on a regular, I would say. I think Miller Moss is just not it, man. But Clemson, they fought, they got the W, and they playing for pride, and they trying to finish the season strong. And we'll see what happens as far as Dabo is concerned.
yeah.
Well, thoughts on that game? Clemson did everything they could to give that game away to Louisville, and Louisville just didn't know how to finish. See, Louisville needs to take their kicker and go get some scissors and cut his shorts a lot shorter, like that dude from Oklahoma, and then he would have made the kicks.
Yeah.
Because apparently that if you have really short booty shorts on, you can kick field goals.
I don't know if it's the loose legs or what. I don't know if it helps with the legs being loose. These things is wild to me today, too.
I don't know. That kid was drilling 50-yarders, though, and that's all I know from Oklahoma. But
that's a good point.
I mean, it's college football, even pro football. Pro football a little less, but you really trust. It's like trusting a kicker in high school to win you. That's a lot, and especially with the importance of that game. But Louisville did it to themselves. They drove down, got into field goal range, had a penalty, pushed them back, had to make it a field goal longer. Penalties, man, penalties. They were, they wound up with like 10 penalties or some. Oh, they had insane amount of penalties in that game. I'm going to look that up real quick while we got y'all. But, I mean, it goes back to Clemson literally tried to lose the game. They tried to say, here, Louisville, carry the torch for the SEC. Yeah, 10 for 80, or for the ACC, 10 for 84. And I remember a few of those penalties were costly. I mean, they weren't like just middle of the game, false start here, false. These were like massive holdings that brought things back. Shout out to Clemson. I mean, they did what a good team does. They found a way to win. The ACC is such a train wreck right now. Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm even more excited for today's slate of ACC. I don't even know if I'm going to watch SEC football today. I might just watch ACC and just see the train wreck continue to go. Because, once you look at a train wreck, you can't look away.
Yeah.
Look away, yeah. I know that's right. I watched that game, man, and I felt like Louisville's coaches, I think they coached a well enough game for them to win it, man. As players, though, you got to be mindful of the fact that you cannot get 5 unsportsmanlike penalties in a game like that, man. You got to be disciplined. And both teams really, like post-game said, especially Clemson was undisciplined. Louisville was undisciplined, but Louisville, you got to know what's on the line. You cannot do that kind of boneheaded stuff. especially the one late in the game where they get the personal foul penalty that pushes them back in field goal range, pushes them back from out of field goal range. And I'm like, dude, you can't do that. And it wasn't even that serious of a deal. I mean, of course, he on your player, but you gotta bite the bullet on that one. Help your player get up. Don't push anybody so that y'all can knock this field goal through. Neither one of those teams act like they wanted to win the game. They were doing all kinds of madness out there. Dude missing an easy tackle because you want to thump the dude, just tackle him. Now all of a sudden they got to kick a field goal from Timbuktu, but Clemson got out with the win. It was good to hear Dabo at the end of the game, happy and ecstatic because their season has not been going well. I really do believe that if Dabo Swinney decides he's going to leave Clemson, which there's a couple of SEC jobs open out there. You got a chance to get some really, really good, talented players to come and play. And I'm quite sure you can pluck some of them guys from Clemson to come and follow you.
Yeah.
I probably would leave that conference. Not that Clemson isn't a good job, which might end up in the SEC someday anyway. I would just go to get a better conference and maybe a better program because I think Clemson is probably going to start to fall off. But Dabo has to adopt the fact that NIL was here, the portal was here, and he's going to have to, use those two tools. If he's not going to use those two tools, stay your butt at Clemson. But I think those SEC jobs that are open are very, very inviting. And Dabo might want to go and get one of those jobs for sure, in my
How
opinion.
how
Go
about
ahead.
the Arkansas job?
Yeah.
I'm glad
I was going to give y'all some coaching intel that I'm hearing out of the SEC here in a few, but I'll give you to that next. But I want to go to your Dabo comment real quick, Rob.
Oh, go ahead.
If he doesn't engage the transfer portal, the SEC won't take him. He will be worse than Kentucky. He'll be worse than Arkansas is this year if he does not hit that portal. Because you look at schools like A&M, 8-4, whatever last year, hits that portal, brings in a D lineman, a couple of receivers, finds the pieces they need, top 3 in the nation. If you don't get that portal in this day and age, especially in the Big Ten, Notre Dame hits the portal too. But the SEC Big Ten, if you're not hitting that portal, you're falling further behind every year. So that's going to be the concern is he's not a big portal guy. Same with Mike Gundy. He did never buy into that whole thing. He wanted his players, and that's not going to fly in the SEC, especially at a Florida or an LSU or an Auburn. That's not going to fly. They're not going to take that.
Yeah.
What you mentioned, and I was looking at the Arkansas LSU game, thinking about the SEC coaching vacancies and appointing Dabo, watching the game last night, not really knowing what he's going to do, if that was a win to keep his job or if he's still going to put himself in that portal with these coaches that's available. So I'm looking at that Arkansas LSU game to see if any of the coaches really looking to not put forth that effort to where those positions are still open and available. Ed Orgeron's name, for some reason, I'm getting messages. I told y'all about his name popping up. I love Ed. I would love to see him at LSU, and I'm gonna stick with that. I love when he was at LSU. I just thought he brought a different atmosphere, that voice. I love it. College football needs it back.
Orgeron's not going to LSU.
No, he's not going back. He's not going back
They won't
there.
take him. They won't. If he goes back, it's a coach, not a head coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Just anywhere on the field, I think
his name is surfacing at the front of the lead for Arkansas.
For Arkansas, yeah.
Well, do y'all believe that any of these vacancies can throw enough to entice Urban Meyer to come out of retirement?
LSU and Florida can throw all the money in the world at him. I don't know that he comes out for that, though. I mean, I don't know if he goes back to Florida, first of all. That didn't end well when it ended. All I'm hearing right now, and this is just, obviously none of this is locked in stone, but I'm hearing Brom out of Louisville is a huge candidate for Auburn. Kiffin is still apparently the front runner to Florida. I don't know why you leave Mississippi if you're Lane Kiffin. You can go 9-3, 8-4. You're still going to be fine there. As long as every once in a while you pop up with one of them 10, 11 win seasons, you can own that state. Ogeron to Arkansas. LSU is the trick because nobody knows what's going on with that whole governor and all the politics, and they don't want to pay Brian Kelly. So do you want to go there if you're a big name coach knowing I might not get paid, So that's kind of the outlier right now. Ogeron and James Franklin are the two names floating the hardest for Arkansas, which my theory is Arkansas needs to go with the guy out of UTSA. I've been saying Jeff Traylor. I think Jeff Traylor is a prime fit for Arkansas, but I guess that's why I'm sitting on a podcast and not in an athletic director's chair.
Yeah, I think that Ole Miss is going to have a blank check for Lane Kiffin. Now, will he stay? I don't know if he'll stay or not, because I know Florida's going to have a blank check too. But as far as Urban Meyer is concerned, Urban Meyer is a coach that is going to win games, and he's going to get your team to championships. I don't know if I will if I was LSU or if I was Florida. I don't know if I want to deal with the antics of Urban Meyer. I just don't know if I want to deal with that. Now, for wins, they probably will, But I don't. I think he should stay where he's at. Much like Saban likes being where he is, I think Urban Meyer likes being where he is, because he really could have easily have been shut out of the game altogether with some of the antics that he has shown. So I think he should be appreciative of the fact that Fox has created a niche for him to be in, and he should probably be there and just stay there. And I'm quite sure that his family wants him not to coach anymore if his health is what they say it was when he was coaching at Florida and Ohio State. So I think he should stay there. But I'm quite sure all those teams, or most of those teams, are going to be like, hey, listen, would you entertain the thought if we gave you this amount of money?
Yeah, I think you're right. Like you said about the blank checks, I think it'll be the same way with him. And then you got to think, when is the last time we really had a coach that come back to college football that'll have as much hype as they would have with Urban Meyer? You're talking about facing Ohio State. They're going to try to make that a big deal, just in general with him coming back. I think he brings a different feel to college football being on Fox. I like him there personally. I just think with the group that they built and on that Fox team is competing with a lot of people out here in the college football world. So I like what he's bringing at that aspect. And if he comes down to that, being on the sideline again, it's like Arch Manning, type of hype. Urban Meyer coming back on the sideline. That's the type of hype I feel he would be up against, and he would have to live up to it. So that would be tough, especially in the way things are going. The portal, so much that he would have to do. So I think Fox is good for him. But we never know, man. This is college football. Anything can happen. We've seen chaos on Saturday, so who knows what'll happen through the week? Even more chaos.
Yeah. What did y'all think about Louisville's coach changing the kicker on that last kick? And if you're that kicker who missed those first couple and that extra point, if you got any more eligibility left, are you staying at Louisville?
Well, kickers get in their own heads. Yeah. Kid missed an extra point. I know that's throwing salt in the wound for post game, but kicker missed an extra point and a field goal. The kid's in his head. He's thinking, I can't shank this one. I can't shank this one. And bam, he's going to shank it. You know, he hooked it left. Is he going to overcorrect and push it right? I mean, so I don't give problems to Brom for trying. I mean, putting somebody fresh in. The kickers, like I said, they get in their own head and they can't get out of it. And I've seen kickers that were amazing, and they miss a couple in a row, and next thing you know, they're missing 5 or 6 in a row, and I'm talking 5 or 6 from 25, 30 yards. I'm not talking 50, 55.
Yeah.
And it takes a 50 or 55 going through to get them back locked in.
Right.
So, you know, I don't have a problem with Brom changing it. At the end of the day, he's the one that has to answer the question, and you're trying to keep your season alive. You're doing anything you can. So I don't have a problem with it.
I agree 100%. When you're a kicker, you got to have a short-term memory, similar to a quarterback throwing interceptions. I can attest to those woes, as Notre Dame had kicking woes a game or two back, and we went to our highly touted freshman kicker, who's looked good thus far. But once a kicker, like Sean was saying, it's in his head, and he's missing chip shots, you got to get him out of there and try something. He needed a kick to win the game. So I have no issues with what Coach Brom did.
Yeah, I have no issue. I agree with you both. You just got to be ready. If it's not your day, it's not your day. Like you said, you got to have a short-term memory, but you know, it's so much that goes into the preparation. You know, are you preparing yourself correctly? You know, what was the other guy doing on the sideline that game, you know, that week in preparing himself? He must have been ready for him to be called upon in those moments as well. So I think the day and age in college football today, you got to be ready. Next man up, regardless if somebody's hurt, you just got to be ready. And it makes me think about, I know we talking football, but Gino Auriemma, he said, if I look down and you're not looking like you're ready to play, I'm not putting you in. I don't care if you're an All-American. I don't care who you are. If you're not ready, I'm not putting you in the game. So he was ready, and he got put in the game. So shout out to the coach making an adjustment, and, you know, that shows a sense of loyalty, and that builds something with the coach as well as a player, I think. You know, you recruited me, and I'm here to do my job, and there was a point where he had to do his job. So that just brings something more for them to talk about in the locker room as well.
What's your thoughts on this Alabama and Oklahoma game that's going to take place today? This could be an elimination game for Oklahoma if they lose it. Do you think that they can possibly get another win over Alabama back-to-back years? Every time that Oklahoma's played Alabama in recent history, they fared well against Alabama. Do you think they can get the win today? What's the keys to victory, and what kind of stat line is John Mateer going to have in order for Oklahoma to be in this game?
Before we jump on that, I want to give Moss, you didn't hear it earlier, your nephew's school won their first-round playoff game last night.
Georgetown?
Yeah, and they're probably going to get beat by about 60 this coming week. They're playing Frisco Lone Star.
Oh,
it's at Georgetown. Frisco Lone Star is going to travel down to play, but they're Frisco Lone Star is undefeated, I think, and ranked like number 1 or 2 in the state.
You know, I'm all about them upsets. Let's go,
Yeah,
George.
that's where Ashton Genty went to high school, Frisco Lone Star.
Oh, and he appreciate you letting me know that because my sister, she was just posting some stuff, so I've been locked in with it, and I'm trying to actually, you know, get him in for an interview as well. Sometime once you finish up and get some things done with the schooling, but I appreciate that as well. They did pretty good this season. I think they might be 2 right now.
8-2 or 9-2 now.
9-2 now with that win. So
yeah,
he had a pretty good school down there. Appreciate that as well.
Yep. But Oklahoma, jump back to that. Sorry, Rob, I didn't mean to.
But good.
It just popped up on my Twitter feed from my high school guy down there, Matt Stepp. about the matchup. So I wanted to get it out to Moss as soon as I heard about it.
Appreciate it.
Because I'm old and I'll forget things. Man, Oklahoma has to. I say they have to stop Alabama's run game, but Alabama really doesn't have a run game. But they have to be aware of it, because I think Alabama's going to try to force the run game to open up the pass game.
Yeah.
Oklahoma's defense is really good, but let me tell you something. They can be thrown on. Tennessee threw all over them. Ole Miss threw over 350 on them. You know, Tennessee's reason for losing that game to Oklahoma wasn't because of the passing yards. It was because Joey Aguilar decided that red was a better color than orange and threw the ball to them like 3 times. So you've got to – Mateer has to take care of the ball. Oklahoma cannot have turnovers. Oklahoma has to establish the run. Getting their receiver back is huge for Oklahoma. You want to know a stat line that Mateer needs to have? There's no number of completion percentage. Mateer has to throw for over 175. And Oklahoma has to run the ball for over 125 to have a chance. That's just the way I see that game playing out. I see Alabama winning. I don't know that. I think Ty Simpson, if Tennessee and Ole Miss can pick apart that Oklahoma defense, you're going to tell me that stable of receivers at Alabama can't? So, just my take on how I feel it needs to play out. But I think if Mateer goes 175 to over that and over 125 rushing for Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma makes it a close game and could sneak it out. They got that kicker with shorts. He can make them.
Yeah, the fact that you mentioned Oklahoma does have a nasty defense, and the fact that you mentioned SEC, Sean, that they can be gotten a passing game is the very reason I picked them to win on Thursday. Alabama, that is. I think with that group of wide receivers, Ty Simpson, and you know, a lot of people say, you know, Alabama, they can't run the ball, and it's going to get them in trouble in the future. That might be so, but Alabama may be a team where no, they don't have a dominant rushing attack, but they run the ball just enough. If they can be that type of team, I think they'll be fine heading into the playoffs. And I got them winning this game. Now, I also mentioned on Thursday that in order for Oklahoma to win this game, I think Mateer is going to have a Superman type performance. Not anything ridiculous, but you said what, 125 passing and what rushing, Sean?
I said 175 passing, and Oklahoma as a
175.
team needs to have 125 rushing.
Yeah, I think they need to rush the ball a little bit better than that to have success against Alabama, my man. I just do that, man. Simpson and those receivers, bro, that's gonna be a handful for Oklahoma to deal with today. I think Bama is gonna win this game. Oklahoma can, but I don't think they will.
I just think I agree with you saying Mateer has to have one of those games. I think he has to have actually a Heisman performance. In this game here on the road, if we think about quarterbacks on the road this season, let's just think about it. It hasn't been the best for some, but those who've stood out are putting their teams in prime position to make a playoff run or in that hunt to move up with no doubt. So I think Mateer has to have that type of performance. But for Alabama, I'm going with Alabama. DeBoer, don't come out without the black hoodie on. I'm picking you before you get dressed today. I know the other day I said I'm going to wait to see what you have on, but I'm going with Alabama. And I think this game, the 3 amigos, 3 a la carte, whatever you want to call it, they going to the grocery store and they coming out with big bags. I called Travion Henderson, Drake May, and Diggs the other day for Thursday night. So I'm calling it tonight. The 3 guys, they coming out and they having big games. And that's Ryan Williams, Bernhardt, Ty. They coming out balling. I think they're in a position to really shock the world. Nobody thought Alabama would be in this position. I know I felt a certain way after we got the win, but I looked at them a few weeks later and said, this is a dangerous team. And if DeBoer gets this win at home, and if it's a big win, I think he cancels all the talk about things that's been going on in Tuscaloosa. And people start jumping in that radio flyer. And if you from down south, you know what I'm talking about. Get your wagons ready, because the Boer gonna buy the whole nation. Quite a few of them if need be. That's my thoughts.
Real quick update: R. Mason Thomas, the stud defensive end, doubtful for Oklahoma.
Yeah, he's doubtful in this game.
That's more rushing for Alabama.
I think that Oklahoma. I think the 125 rushing is a good number. I think if they can get that and Mateer can throw for 200. The thing is, I think they gotta make sure that they control the tempo of the game. If they can go up tempo at certain times in the game to sort of maybe get um, Alabama's defense sort of tired, especially in that second half. If they can pull that out of their bag, if they got this game close and they can go up tempo a little bit, they might be able to establish the run game because they've got these linemen running from side to side and quick game and things like that. They might be able to make some noise that way. But on the flip side of it, they're gonna have to face the same kind of a situation because both of these teams offensively are about the same. Their run game isn't quite there, but their passing game could be fairly decent. Well, Alabama's passing game is really good. Oklahoma's can get there if John Mateer has time to throw, and they give him the short stuff. He's not that great of a long ball thrower. Um, so I think they need to be able to establish the run. They've been able to run pretty decently the last 2 or 3 weeks with that number 24. But can they keep that going and get at least 125 yards rushing? Mateer can get 200. They could at least be in this game. But I really do believe Alabama is pissed off from last year, and they ain't having none of that. So I think Alabama's going to beat them pretty easily, even though they both got some handicaps with their running game. Mossberg, what's your thoughts on your Florida State team? Can they get another win today against their opponent and get you a little bit closer than I having to wear that Ohio State shirt?
I'm very. I'm gonna just be honest, man. I feel we could get the. We at home. We got to get the win. I feel we could get the win. I think, you know, at the end of the day, coming into the season, of course, after the Alabama win, I thought we had a different swagger to the season. You know, everybody was questioning me, Moss, is your boys back? We get a few more wins. And then next thing you know, it's just like we get bombed on after bomb. And then it's like an explosion. I think we just got to find ourselves. You know, shout out to really, seeing Ethan Pritchard home healthy with his family. I know that might have, hung over the team's head a lot. I'm sure it did at times. That's something tough when you have a teammate just being itself, and then the next thing you know, he's not able to be, doing what he's doing on a regular. And you just seen him play an awesome game, so I know what that could do for a team. But I think now we have to play for Ethan. Ethan's home. Let's go show Ethan we happy to see him home. Put the rest of the season not on his back, but go out there and play for him. Play for him. And if you play for him, I think you get win after win after win because, for me as a player, if I'm a teammate, I'm going out there playing for you every week. So my motivation is you. And you coming home being healthy, I think that's more motivation. We at home and dope. I think we come away with a victory today. I think it's a couple of touchdowns. I think we get after it defensively. I think offensively, put Kevin Sperry in the game. Shout out to Tommy Castellanos coming back, transferring, getting us off to a good start, and getting us and leading us to where we at. But I want to see Kevin Sperry. That's just my thoughts. I want to see the young kid. He's great. Put him in the game and let him do what he could do. Second half, if he haven't played in the first and we got a good lead, let that boy play.
What y'all think about the fact that there's so many coaching vacancies out there right now that are going to really be getting some high profile coaches. A lot of high profile coaches have been fired. Should Florida State decide to go ahead and keep Norvell, especially if they can keep Gus Malzahn and his name is it Smith, the defensive coordinator? Miles Bart, what's his name?
Tony White.
Tony White. Should they say, listen, bring those guys in and say, listen, we're gonna keep y'all, especially if they can get to 7-5 from 2-10. We're gonna keep y'all together, but everybody, all the pieces gotta stay. Do you think something like that can happen for them? Because I really don't think they should fire Norvell with so many coaching vacancies out there, man. They might end up with a bottom of the barrel dude that's worse than Norvell. What's your thoughts on that? And then we'll get to your question here in a minute, John.
It kind of looked like it's shaping out that way because if they were going to fire Norvell, they probably would have did it already, or they just respect him enough to let him ride the season out. It could be either or, but I mean, that's a good point on so many vacancies to where you may not get the guy that you feel like can lead the program back to prominence. And Norvell, he had a really good season the year before last. They should have, maybe a lot of people argue they should have been in the playoffs. The quarterback gets out, they get blown out. Some people drop out of the bowl game, whatever. But I mean, if Florida State balls out the last couple of games of the season, I can see them, and they get the wins, of course. I can see them keeping Norvell. Let's give him one more shot. You start 0-2, 0-3, you out of there. But I can see them sticking with Norvell, especially like Rob mentioned, with them having such a great coaching staff and the way they assembled so many former head coaches. I can see them giving this staff one more shot.
See, I think if you're Florida State with all the openings out there right now, you have to look at the candidates and you have to say, okay, who's our 1 and who's our 1A? Can we get them? If you're not 100% sure you can get them, and then your number 2 and 3 or you view 2 and 3 down your list worse than what you already have, why? Stay with what you got. Let it ride. You know, that's just my theory on it. I mean, if you know that Lane Kiffin's your number 1 choice, you have to realize, okay, am I going to beat out LSU or Florida for him? If it comes to a bidding war, which Florida State has money, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying they don't, but is Lane Kiffin going to leave Ole Miss in the SEC to go to a Florida State in the ACC, or is he going to go to Florida or LSU? So, to me, if you're Florida State or a lot of these other schools that might be looking to fire a coach, who are your targets, and do you think you can really get them, or are you going to hire somebody worse than what you already have and set the program back another 4 years?
Right. I'm in agreement with you because I think, for me, I was looking at just the last few weeks, the recruits that we losing. We losing some big recruits in these games and in situation of not knowing. For me, as a fan, I sit back. I just want to see us finish the season out strong. That's the upside that keeps his seat lukewarm. But I still think, like you said, we have to see if there's 1A, 1B. We have to look at the chart and see what the money look like, what the possibilities are, because I think, there's behind closed doors talks of Malzahn possibly becoming a head coach. And we know, what he could do on that sideline if he's not just a head coach. We know what he does. He brings a lot of magic. And I think he could also bring recruits in, myself personally. So, it's just so much that it's the unknown right now in Florida State, starting off with the game today. So I just think I hope a lot of the unknown becomes less talk and more business being handled, whether it's behind closed doors or within the sports world and comments of people talking. I just want to see things moving up in Florida State. You know, because I'm telling you, I know Zay wish he was here. I'm close, You know, I don't move nowhere when it comes to my Seminoles, man. But I'm 43 years old, and I could do what I want in life. I could choose whatever team I want. And I'm not trying to wear no Buckeye shirt come the end of this season. So come on, Norvell, Gus, and Tony, and that Seminole offensive, defense, special teams, man. Get me the win today. Close out this season 7-5, so we can look into what we're doing this offseason into another year of excellence at the University of Florida State.
Another quick coaching update. Don't expect Mike Elko to go anywhere.
Ooh.
No.
I mean, no, there's been links to Penn State and all this other stuff. Keep your eye on that for the next couple of weeks. There's probably fixing to be a huge extension because the table came out for the Board of Regents and the president meeting coming up. And that's one of the topics on there is approving salaries over $500,000. So expect Elko to be locked up.
Money, money, money.
Yeah.
You know, he's on an incentive. He's on an incentive-laden contract right now that could wind up making him the highest-paid coach in college football if he hits all the incentives. If they win the national title, he'd make more money than any other coach on a salary.
Sure. Let me add this, and then we'll talk about John's statement or question that he has there. Florida State, I don't think it would be wise to fire Norvell at this point and have two Florida schools, two of the two prominent Florida schools without coaches when you're trying to put a daggone rope around that talent that's in Florida, man. I don't think it would be a good idea, man, for them to do that. You probably need to wish for the best for Norvell to win these last 3 games, make it to 7-5, which is a 5-game increase from last year in the win total column, and go ahead and give him another year. Because I mean, we already see that Cristobal season start to get a little bit warm too. So I don't think they're gonna fire Cristobal, but still, man, at some point they're gonna have to start considering looking elsewhere if he can't get it done in the next year or two, because 2 years in a row they've sort of fallen off when they went to the portal and got what is considered a top-notch quarterback. So I think that'll be a wise move for Florida State to go ahead and keep Norvell another year, especially if he can keep that staff together. Because I don't think it's a good idea to have 2 Florida schools without a coach right now, especially with guys probably thinking about going to the portal, especially that Florida team with all that talent they got. Some of them guys might be looking to go elsewhere if they don't get the right hire. John, I don't know if it's a statement or a question, but we're going to look at it anyway. Lamar Jackson, the best quarterback in the history of the NFL. What do y'all think about that statement? What do you think about that question? Is Lamar Jackson the best quarterback in NFL history, or is he just trolling? I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts is prove it. Prove it. I love Lamar Jackson. Probably one of the most disrespected guys coming out of college into the draft ever. So much to where he didn't even want to run his 40 time. Lamar Jackson is definitely a talent. He can run, he can pass, but he got to prove it. You got to win. At the end of the day, if you want to be in that conversation with the Montanas, the Bradys, the Mannings, so on and so forth, you have to win. And if he wins, we can revisit that conversation. But as of right now, he hasn't done enough to be in that conversation.
That's the exact point. Lamar is amazing. He's an amazing talent. Our quarterback at A&M mimics Lamar Reed a lot. Lamar Jackson, sorry. Combining names here. We're going to Marcel Jackson and Lamar Reed. I don't know what we're doing. That's somebody that I hear comparisons to. Is it fair for Marcel Reed? No, it's not. But Lamar Jackson is uber talented. Great quarterback. Is he the best in the NFL in the history? He's not even the best quarterback right now. I mean, there's a dude sitting over in Missouri that's got a couple of Super Bowl rings. You said it perfect post game. You gotta win. You gotta win them.
Right.
Brady, Montana, Steve Young, Marino never got a ring. Still one of the greatest. Elway. I mean, saying he's the greatest in the history? No, not close. Hell of a quarterback, but pump the brakes on the best ever.
Yeah. It's nothing against the comment, but when you're talking about best in the history, everything you just said, everything post game just said, you got Warren Moon, you got freaking Randall Cunningham, you got this new class, this new era of quarterbacks, and him being one of them. For me to put Lamar Jackson in the upper echelon to where he's passing Mahomes right now, he will have to literally get Baltimore not to the playoffs but win the Super Bowl this year to pass Mahomes. For me, that's just me, my opinion. Even Mahomes with the Super Bowls, he'll actually pass Mahomes. And that's a little, I might be just a tad of my own bias because I'm not as big of a Mahomes fan, but respectably, I think that's something that would be historical in doing that, getting Baltimore to the playoffs, winning the North, winning the Super Bowl. That means you passing Mahomes, you passing Allen, you surpassing all these great quarterbacks right now that people have ahead of you. Not to mention what you'll be against in the NFC. But in the history, Lamar, you got some things to do, and that's just part of it. There, he's been great at what he do. Nothing against that. Brought a team and an organization feats that they didn't see for a while. But now, I think we looking at what we're looking at. Got to bring them out of reviving. Got to revive this Ravens team this season.
Man, I don't know what these three dudes talking about. Lamar Jackson is the best dual threat quarterback in the history of the NFL.
Best dual
quarterback? No. Dual quarterback, man, I think he's the best ever. Maybe Steve Young might have an argument there because he won a Super Bowl or two.
What about Randall?
Oh, I think he's better than Randall Cunningham.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I like him. I like him better than Randall because nothing against Randall Cunningham. Randall Cunningham was great, but when you talk about Lamar Jackson,
Randall Cunningham was nice.
Yeah.
Look, man, I played Tecmo Bowl the other day, and I had Randall Cunningham as my quarterback, and they couldn't stop me.
Yeah. Dual threat wise, Lamar Jackson is him, but when you're talking about in history, he still got some work to do. That's all. His dual threat is amazing. Like,
you got to put some of them things on your fingers before you can be down there. But listen, my man Lawrence Taylor, he said that Joe Montana is the GOAT of the NFL, bro. And he broke it down. He said, listen, Joe Montana played in an era where you can light the quarterback up. There was no rules out there that kept him from being touched like it is during the Tom Brady era. If Tom Brady played in that era, would he have been able to be as successful? Would he even have been able to play that many games? Because those guys back then during the Joe Montana era, they was killing quarterbacks, bro. They was killing them. So I think that was a really good point by LT. So, man, I don't know. I mean, I think Lamar Jackson is a great quarterback, greatest of all times in history. Maybe not.
Joe Montana. Yeah, Joe Montana. Yeah, that's a bad boy. That's a bad man.
Oh, FanDuel got a good point there. He said John said that because the Ravens was so bad without him when he was injured, he clearly don't have a good team.
Yeah, well, you gotta remember one thing about that though. Not only was Lamar Jackson out, they were missing 6 or 7 starters on the defense.
Okay, yeah.
Good to
Post
see you.
game, my son is saying, "Hey, post game, bye week before the Chiefs is love JT for MVP."
These are facts.
He said, "These are facts."
Good to see you in here, FanDuel Zay, nephew B's TV. Appreciate you. I was just thinking about you, man, and I'm gonna definitely had to get in my messages and send you a text. I've been thinking about you the last couple of days. It's good to see you in here. That means you handling business. I already knew you was good, but it's good to see you in here as well as you, FanDuel Zay.
Yeah. Anything else y'all wanted to? Whoa! I got to talk about post game in this game today. Y'all got against Pitt. What you thinking? How's it gonna look? Can Pitt pull the upset over your boys?
Can they? Absolutely. Will they? Nope. If when I'm thinking about this game, the closer we got to kickoff, uh, everything's I think everything works in Notre Dame's favor. You got head coaches crying and moaning about independence. Which if independence was such an advantage, why doesn't more teams do it? But that's another story. Um, you got the ACC reps coming out saying the ACC team should be ahead of Notre Dame. You got the ACC refs seemingly to always be able to screw us in some way. Um, so I know, or again, you got the playoffs on the line. This is such a huge game for the Irish. So much fire for the wood. I believe Notre Dame's going to be ready. I did think this game could be close. I don't think it's going to be close. I think Notre Dame is going to take them out to the woodshed, and you're going to hear some damage being inflicted on them. Their quarterback has been playing great. He hasn't seen a Leonard Moore, who's been rated the number one man-to-man coverage corner in the nation. I believe that defense is a little undersized for our offensive line, which is huge. I just believe Marcus Freeman is going to have this team ready to play. They're going to be motivated. They know they don't want to play a close game with Pittsburgh with the referees and the ACC. I think Notre Dame's going to come out and make a statement and get a huge win on the road. So,
Hmm. All right. What's your thoughts on that with SEC, Sean? I was just gonna say something about it real quick. I was just thinking as you were saying that. I know FanDuel is there gonna chop me up in the comments about this, but I was thinking Freeman was telling everybody that he got a car and he got a lot of love in that car, but he said he gonna get more defense coming from Faison. I think post game know what I'm saying when I say that, but that's just what my thoughts was with this. I like more. I think as good as this Pittsburgh team is, I think they shocking the ACC for sure. I don't think nobody knew what they was bringing, but I knew what they had defensively, and I think their defense have gotten them to a great point. Not to mention that young quarterback they have. But I just think Notre Dame is at a point in the season where they know what's stacked against them. I feel like this season, where they at now, means more than it did last year. They've smelt it. They hungry for more. And I'm gonna just leave it at that.
I like the quarterback from Pitt. I like the way he's been playing. I don't see any way Notre Dame loses this game. I mean, Pitt could keep it close, I guess. I just don't see it. Anybody that's saying the ACC people need to be ranked ahead of Notre Dame, somebody needs to give them one of them little things the police use when they stop you for on a Friday or Saturday night for driving. Something wrong with them people. I think Notre Dame comes out, establishes the run, gets it rolling, and then I think Notre Dame buries them. Pitt might keep it close for a little bit. Would expect that. Home field, game day, all that hype, and I just think Notre Dame's too deep and too strong. I think Notre Dame just pulls away and beats them pretty convincingly.
Yeah, I think Notre Dame right now, man, they're on a mission, man. They already got their 2 losses early in the season against 2 really good football teams. Um, I just think that they're playing on another level right now, and the opponents that they have coming up, they're just going to be too talented for them. They're going to be too talented for Pitt. Pitt's a good team in the ACC, but they're not ready for the talent level they're about to face against this Notre Dame team, offensively and defensively. I think the freshman is going to struggle at the quarterback position today, and I think Love is going to run wild. And then, of course, they got that two-headed monster at running back. That's really all they're going to need to do. I don't see them having any issues with this Pitt team, even though Pitt is at home in this game, and they got them referees. Now, if the referees pull one of them referee things on them, though, they can make this thing interesting. And I could definitely see them being told, listen, keep this thing close. Keep this thing close. But, I still think that Notre Dame is just way too talented for Pitt and got way too many big humans for Pitt to be able to deal with. So I'm taking Notre Dame to roll on them all day. And Love has another one of those Heisman Trophy moments that's going to cause the committee who votes for the Heisman to make sure that he's in New York. FanDuel said Miami has the head-to-head and is still a 2-loss team. Yeah, they definitely need Miami to probably fall off somewhere. But Miami's losses that they've had so far probably put them in a bad position, too, where they probably can't get ahead of Notre Dame since Notre Dame is positioned where they are. But you do got a valid point that they do own the head-to-head, but I don't know if the committee is even going to even entertain that, even though they're supposed to. I don't know if they're going to.
100%. He's correct. They do have the head to head, but when folks talk about head to head, I get it. But we got to ask ourselves, is that the only thing that matters when you're comparing two teams? Because I don't think does anybody think Miami is playing better than Notre Dame right now?
No,
Does anybody think Miami is the better team right now?
no.
So when you're deciding between a Miami and a Notre Dame, Miami has the head to head. I give you that. But are there other factors, and do the other factors outweigh that head to head?
I got a quick. I'm glad you mentioned that, and I'm glad Zay mentioned that. I was watching our guy, one of our guys, me and Zay watched. Zay got me hit 22. Joe Klott. He mentioned something about November losses. November losses matter, and this is all pertaining to something that you mentioned, Zay, about the rankings and stuff. A lot of this goes into teams being ranked to start the season. If you think about Miami, Notre Dame, you think about Texas A&M, Notre Dame. I would be waiting to see Texas A&M, Notre Dame Part 2. Whereas Miami, Notre Dame, I think Notre Dame comes out as something special. They might come out, them green babies with the gold shining like no other. They coming out to knock heads off. It's a different game, different mentality. Whereas a game with Texas A&M, I think they come out with that same enthusiasm. But, it's going to be a banger. Whereas it'll be something different, I think, with Miami. I think November games matter. Where you at in November counts. Are you sliding? Are you trending up? Everybody's team on the screen, including Zay's team. Everybody's trending up. My team was trending up for 3 weeks, and we've been trending down. It ain't nothing changed. So I think that matters, and you move forward. Zay, you said it. I think rankings might need to come out starting November 1st. Think about it, college football. That might be something interesting because, man, quite
And
frankly, I don't care.
I'm not saying that the head to head shouldn't matter. I'm saying when you look at the totality of
Yeah.
two different teams, when you're comparing and contrasting, is that the only thing that matters? That was my question.
I've been waiting for Miami's defensive line really to show up since since I seen them play against us, and I think of a game or so after that. Like some things you November football matters. I think that's a big part of it. You see teams go on win streak. You see teams they might lose in at the end of October, but they go through November undefeated, and they're a totally different team. So I think this is a point in the season where this weekend even we're gonna see a lot of chaos, but we're gonna see where teams are built. From a coaching standpoint, from a discipline standpoint, from a mental standpoint. There's so many things that's gonna go into play when it comes to this weekend.
Real quick, let me make this last point. My mom used to tell me if was a fifth, we all be drunk. That's what my mom used to say. But
Sure.
think about it. Notre Dame is 4 points away from being a top 2 or 3 team in the country.
Yeah,
4 points.
that's it.
Yeah,
You
let's go ahead, SEC Sean,
you
go
can
ahead.
debate all kinds of stuff. Head to head does definitely matter, but I don't think that should come in right now. Now, if it gets down to the end of the season, both teams are 10-2, then we got to have a discussion. You have to, because yes, we scheduled the game. Miami won the game. If A&M drops 2 games, if we drop to South Carolina and Texas, and we're 10-2 with Notre Dame and Miami, who goes? It's if you go head to head, it's got to be A&M and Miami, right? But luckily, that's not going to happen. We're not going to lose together. But that's the point. Head to head does need to be the final step, like Zay said. But at the end of the day, if the last rankings come out and Notre Dame's 9 and Miami's 16, and they try to leave Miami out, there's going to be a lot of problems with that. And I in post game would agree. I see him shaking his head. He would agree that that's probably not the right way to go. But there's so many different debates you can have. I was listening to a show the other day, and it was debating A&M and Indiana. A&M got dinged for beating Missouri on the road with a backup quarterback, and Indiana didn't for beating Penn State with a backup quarterback.
I wasn't
And
gonna say nothing about that, but I'm glad
well,
you.
I didn't even realize it till, like I said, I just saw that the other day. And I don't care. Y'all know, I don't care. I don't care if we're ranked 3rd, 4th, 11th. I don't care. As long as we get in the playoff, I don't care. But it's a good talking point. Why is one team dinged for playing a backup? And I get their backup at Missouri was really their 3rd string. I get that. But they didn't get dinged for winning on the road in a close game where they had to fight to come back. And we got dinged for playing a backup that we pretty well dominated.
Yeah.
So, that was the talking point. And so you can debate. We can turn any topic we want on here into a debate. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the old adage, handle your business and you won't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. FanDuel saying that what's the point in scheduling games like that then? I think a lot of coaches are starting to realize, listen, if you're saying that these head-to-head matchups mean something, then you're gonna have to prove it. Otherwise, why even schedule those games? And a lot of coaches are starting to say, listen, like in the case of A&M, they got these games scheduled, but they haven't benefited from it yet, you know? And it's like they would still be ranked number 3 in the country had they not played Notre Dame, because they would still probably be undefeated because they would have placed somebody else in that game that was less than Notre Dame, and they still would be in the same position. If I'm still be in the same position, why do I need to schedule a juggernaut? Now, in the case of Notre Dame, they got to schedule some juggernauts so that they can have a strength of schedule that's worth something. because they're independent and they understand that, and they've done it throughout their whole entire independent history. But I think that coaches and organizations and teams are starting to realize, listen, you can't say that this is a factor and then don't prove that it's a factor. Otherwise, we just gonna go ahead and go off of face value and say, listen, you ain't proving it, we ain't gonna do it anymore. So I
Right.
think that's gonna be the situation with that.
That's
Donnell
where
made a
this
really
year,
good point. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's where this year, how they handle this head to head is going to determine scheduling in the future. Not necessarily next year, because that's already pretty much locked. But
Yeah.
there, you may see teams in, say, 2027. Let's just say A&M and Florida State had a game scheduled. If that head to head doesn't matter in this, there's a chance A&M and Florida State call each other and say, let's cancel it and play somebody else.
Yeah.
Let me go play Oklahoma State.
Yeah. We're already
I mean-
seeing a little bit of that already. There's some teams that's already starting to do that already. Yeah. Donnell was saying OSU got up by 24 and they stopped playing. He said, I think Vegas has put 24-point cap on OSU. The last 2 weeks they have won by 24 points. I wish FanDuel Zaya was on here live with us so that he can sort of address this, because I think he has the mindset that Ohio State knows they're going to be able to thump the opponents that they're thumping, and they're saving a lot for this college football playoffs, where we're really going to see Ohio State open up some stuff. It may be Vegas, but at the same time, it may be Ryan Day and that offensive coordinator crew that's just saying, listen, we've done enough to get up on these guys to win. Let's go ahead and pull back some, because once we get in this college football playoffs, we're going to be able to really open it up. And they're playing a lot of second and third string guys later on in some of these contests too. So that can have a factor on it as well. But Donnell, by all means, Vegas might have something to do with it, because all season we have seen some crazy things happen in some of these games where teams are locked to go ahead and cover those spreads. And then in the last waning moments, they mess around and give up a touchdown, or they don't go score any more points, and Vegas end up going out like a fat rat with a big old bag.
Big bag, big bag.
Well, if that's the case, Donnell, that's the only thing I've seen that's able to stop Ohio State this year.
Right.
Oh, I need to get my coach to call Vegas up and be like, what do you got? What can we do?
Yeah.
What's today?
Since we got you speaking of SEC, Sean, what you think about Lenore Sellers today? Is he going to play against your Texas A&M Aggies? And what do y'all need to do to go ahead and secure this win today?
Okay. Let me address this. I wasn't going to bring this up, but since you did, Lenore's better play. After you come out and say playing at Kyle Field ain't that big of a deal,
Oh,
if he sits, we don't have a problem. All I keep hearing from the A&M defensive players from last year that were there last year when we literally got embarrassed by South Carolina, everybody, including the quarterback on offense, said this one's personal. A&M might hang 60 on this team. They are. I'm going to tell you, quarterbacks are going to learn. Say what you want about Texas A&M. Are we a cult? Maybe. Well, we are. But don't try to say Kyle Field's not that big of a deal, because there's people saying, "Oh, they're going to be sleepy because it's 11 a.m. kickoff." Let me tell you something. That team hasn't been at home in a month.
They're ready.
And they're number 3 in the nation. There was 30,000 people last night at midnight at Yell practice. And you're going to come out and say it's not that big of a deal. You better play. If you don't, I'm going to tell you right now, my thoughts on the game. A&M is going to run the ball down their throat. I'm telling you, I would not be surprised I put this out. I have 4 A&M people that run the ball, whether quarterback, running backs, wide receivers. I have 4 of our players going over 50 yards rushing today. This is not going to be pretty. I'm telling you right now. This game will, if everything goes the way the players and the coach, this will not be pretty. This game will be nasty by halftime. ESPN might put on slippery stairs. So.
You can't slide out of here. You can't slide out of here, Unc. It's a game at 7:30 tonight. They talking about it. It's a big one.
We're going to end the stream in about 2 minutes.
All
We
right,
ain't got enough time.
we ain't got enough time.
Let me ask you a post game this question. If you're Shane Beamer, are you playing Lenore Sellers today? And your team is 3-6, probably with no chance to make the bowl game. Are you playing Lenore Sellers, or are you having that kid's best interest at heart and going to let him sit?
I'm of the mindset of sit for what? Is he struggling with his health? Does he plan on transferring? Are the rumors true? If the rumors aren't true and he's healthy, play, man. Build momentum for next year. I don't know how you're gonna build momentum against Texas A&M, but I mean, play, man. You the leader of the team. You the quarterback, man. You know, ride or die.
Totally agree. But
That's your point too, Mossberg? That's what you're saying too?
yeah, he got to play. Ain't nothing else. Transfer or not, you got to go out there and play. Because ain't nobody gonna want you as a coach. If you want to go in the transfer portal, I'm not even thinking about you, honestly. You gave up on your team.
Since everybody else, we all play at noon 2 post game, so that's fine. Have you seen this Nick Harbor kid from South Carolina?
You said who?
Have y'all seen that dude?
Which one?
The wide receiver, Nick Harbor, 6'5", runs
yeah,
like a 4.3 40.
Talking about the
In
former
240?
track star. Yeah, track star.
Dude, I'm already sending money to the A&M Foundation for next year's transfer portal.
Yeah.
That kid, man, if you ain't seen that kid play, anybody in the stream, go watch that kid. That kid is a freak.
I watched 2 games, man. He's something.
There you go, Zay. That's exactly what I was fixing to say. Zay said my exact thing I was fixing to say. He is DK Metcalf reinvented.
It's crazy because I think he's Calvin Johnson. He's gonna get taller, bro. I think he Calvin Johnson Metcalf in one. And he's learning. He's just now learning. He's really learning football. He's a track star, so he's just gonna get better.
So we got everybody's thoughts. Now we need old big man up there, Rob, with the hook. I mean hook. I'm sorry. Whatever.
It's a 7:30 game tonight. You can't sneak up out of here, Unc. It's a game at 7:30 tonight.
Yeah, we got it. I'm gonna give you the same question you posed about Mateer in Oklahoma. What needs to happen, and what needs to be the Texas's stat line to win this game at Georgia?
We definitely have to rush for over 100 yards. We got to get somewhere between 125 and 150 in this game. They don't rush the passer very well. They're a blitz-oriented defense, that Georgia defense is. If we can stop the blitz from coming through the A gap, which is what we had trouble with all season except for last game against Vanderbilt. If we can handle that and we can get the ball out of Arch's hand in the short game the way we need to, Ryan Wingo can stay healthy in this game. He has a thumb injury. If he can still be able to squeeze the ball when he gets his opportunities, because he's had quite a few drops even before he had the thumb injury. If we can do that, I think the wide receivers are starting to round into shape because he hadn't had a lot of work with them. He had to really get it during the season. I think he's playing a lot better football. He's reading the defenses a little bit better. But Steve Sarkisian is actually helping him too to get that ball out of his hand a lot faster, so he doesn't have to read as much. I think he has to throw for at least 250, and we got to rush for at least 125 to 150. Defensively, we got to be able to stop the run. If we can hold them to a good number rushing wise, um, because they want to run the ball 58% of the time. At least that's what they've done so far. If we can do that, which I think we got a really good run defense, but they got some big backs that can lean on you. So if we can stop the run and throw for 250, rush for at least 125, which is going to be hard to do because our running game isn't that good. But I think that our tackles have played really, really well. It's been our interior guys who have been struggling. But I think that was because our left tackles have been struggling. But we got a veteran guy there now, so I think we're going to be okay. I think we got a chance to really win this game um, late and be able to close it out with the run game. I'm taking Texas to win, of course, because I'm a Texas fan, but I really do believe they can beat Georgia, even though it's on the road. I think that there's some things that Texas can do that they're able to do well that is going to pose a problem for Georgia because Georgia's defense isn't the Georgia defense of old. And if Arch Manning has to scramble a little bit or whatnot to buy some time, we can throw over their head because he likes to do that. We've seen him do that quite a bit this season. So there's going to be moments when that's going to happen. But I don't want them to do that play action pass stuff though. I want it to just happen organically. I don't want it to be by design because he doesn't do that well on the play action quite yet. At least not from under center.
I like
Yeah.
the Texas team. I think your Texas team wins this game. Of course, I picked them yesterday. I just think I had watched a video. I had just wanted to mention about. I think I seen Colin Simmons, and they had questioning about you know the offense or something it was, and the leadership that he took, and you know everybody. Not saying nobody was different from each other. That was a big deal to me. Colin Simmons being a young player, but having that type of leadership, I think he brings that to the locker room. It's been seen all over social media. I think he brings that energy to Georgia. I think Texas gets a big win. Like I said, to start this, we've been seeing historic runs in the last few years in sports. I think this is the start of a historic run nobody's seen Texas making on their way to the SEC championship. They finally get Georgia. And you're going to see Bevo running up on that Bulldog today. I'm going to just put it in the air. I just think that it all go hand in hand.
The the momentum from going into Georgia and getting a huge SEC win for Texas, um, it's, it's gonna be crazy. Like if Texas is able to go down there and get a victory, the momentum is gonna be like a train. It's just gonna keep rolling. Um, I'm curious to know though, if or know what y'all think. If Texas can't run the ball today or tonight, are y'all confident that Arch Manning can win this game for Texas? Let's just say it turns into a shootout. Both teams are both quarterbacks are passing the ball. If that's the type of game we get, then who do y'all favor?
And I still favor Arch, man. I think if you think about it last year, the change that they made would put him into that game. I think he played better in that game. I think that's one of the games that he played very good in, even though it didn't come out fair out Texas way. I think for me, I like Arch. His improvement he's made. I think Stockton is more so. I think he's digressed. Just my feeling, my opinion. So I'm going Arch. I just think he's definitely more of a weapon with his legs and the way he could throw that ball. He's getting better.
I think if it gets into a shootout, I think I favor Georgia. Being at home, even with a shootout, Georgia's ability to run the ball more is going to wear out that Texas defense a little bit. So even if it is a shootout, Georgia's got huge tight ends. Those dudes are massive. Um, Arch, I think Arch could keep them in it, but I just think at home in a shootout, I think I favor Georgia. Now, if Texas can't run the ball at all, I still like that Texas defense to keep this a close game. But I think if you eliminate the threat of the run game, I think you're going to see Georgia pin their ears back even more. Even though they have trouble pressuring, I think they're going to start sending packages and try to play man up with those Texas receivers and try to get Arch off his marks and moving his feet, throwing off the back foot. That's what I see. I mean, part of me, I picked Georgia to win. Part of me is because I have to. Because my favorite team is A&M, and then anybody who's playing Texas. Part of me wants Texas to win. Part of me wants Texas and A&M to play for just the make that even more than what it is going to be already. So I'm kind of torn on this. I think Georgia's the better team at home. Though I wouldn't be surprised if Texas pulls the, I guess, upset, if you want to call it that. But if it's a shootout, I favor Georgia to post games question.
Yeah, I think we had a week off to go ahead and prepare for such a thing as Texas not being able to run the football. So I'm quite sure they got some kind of some play calls in there that's going to be beneficial for Arch Manning if the run game is not quite there. Um, so I think we're going to be okay there. Georgia is a tough place to go and play. The good thing about this Texas team is they've gone in some pretty hostile environments and won some games. So I don't think they're going to be really bothered by that. Can Arch Manning though bounce back from, having gone to Ohio State and played in the shoe where that was pretty hostile and he didn't fare so well? Will he be able to learn from that and be able to find a good rhythm? Will Steve Sarkisian get him in a good rhythm? I don't think they're going to be able to throw those screens on this Georgia team. No, those defensive backs are way too fast for that. But he can maybe get Arch Manning out of the pocket in the short game on some curls and some layered routes. Um, as far as those tight ends for Georgia, those tight ends are tough. I think one of them might be out though. He might not play. He got his bell rung, so he might. I mean, he might play, but I don't know how much he might play. But I know he was questionable uh, on Wednesday because he got his bell rung in the game before. But those two guys are going to be tough. And if the good thing is we got Michael Tabb back and we got Jelani McDonald back, which helped us with those tight ends because both of those guys can cover those tight ends, so we don't have to use our linebackers as much. You have an issue getting back at the proper depth. That's why teams have been able to run those crossing routes on us on thirds and sevens and getting first downs because our linebackers aren't getting back far enough because we face some running quarterbacks as well. So hopefully Gunner Stockton, we can keep him in the pocket, have a good rush discipline, and don't give him any of them lanes because he can run as well. So hopefully we can do that. I think they're gonna try to pressure Arch as much as they can. I mean, you see what they did to Quinn Ewers last year. I'm quite sure they're gonna do the same thing or try to do the same thing to Arch Manning. We just need that line to hold up, and Arch got to be willing to get that ball out of his hand to the hot receiver, and not be holding on to that thing thinking that he's gonna get something coming open late. So he's just gonna have to be on his game. But I think he's ready to do that. I think he's grown a whole lot throughout this season, and I think he's ready to turn the corner to really make Texas a viable foe for teams that have to play down the stretch. Anything else y'all want to add before we wrap up? We're right at hour and 25 minutes. Anything else y'all want to add? Anything else y'all want to discuss? Any other games out there that interest you?
We could
Just up there
switch it
putting
up,
on-
throw this out. What y'all think about that basketball game yesterday, the girls' basketball game with Duke and God, who was it? Wake Forest, North. I don't remember who they played now. Virginia, somebody. I don't even remember now. Where the whole other team got like ejected because of a fight. They only had to
And
play
it was
with
only
five
playing with
girls.
5 players? They only
Yeah,
had 5
the whole
players.
second half.
Yeah. That was crazy.
And then one.
Yeah,
Crazy.
they had no substitutes.
One girl picked up her 4th foul, and she could have been out, and they'd have played 5-on-4, but she didn't pick up the 5th one. I'm like, what in the world?
Yeah.
He said the six ejections or something like that. The West Virginia upsetting Duke. And this is something, I'm glad you mentioned that. Something we're starting to see over sports. They said something about it in a game I noticed with college football, HBCUs. I just think as athletes, we got to remember, of course, yeah, we kids, but we got to remember as kids that watch us, and they look up to us as well. You know, when we on television, just some of the stuff got to be controlled at some point. You never know what goes on, man, but it's wild. But Curry, on another note, he dropping 40 balls like crazy. Just watch out for Steph Curry because he out there doing what he do. Women's basketball going to be great this year. College basketball is off to a great start. I'm a big fan of AJ DeBonsa, young Cayenne, Anthony Carmelo's son. If y'all haven't watched him, y'all need to watch him. That's been my guy since I've been watching him since about 7th grade. I'm loving what he's doing and bringing to the college basketball world. Possibly going to do what his dad did, one and done. He's really that good. But other than that, man, just great Saturday football that we're looking forward to seeing, and some chaos for sure.
Yeah, I don't got too much on it. I didn't see the game, but I don't know. Maybe there needs to be some type of rule adjustment. If your whole team can be kicked out of a game like that, I don't even know if it was justifiable. Maybe you said they were fighting, right? Then it was justified. But
what happened is one of the West Virginia girls went to shoot a 3, like at the end of the second quarter, and it was blocked by a Duke player, and the Duke player was celebrating, and the West Virginia player pushed her, and then all of the West Virginia team on the bench came running onto the court. And that rule of if you come on the court off the bench, you're ejected. So,
yeah. Well, that's another loss. Duke has lost twice this year already, and they were considered one of the better teams in women's college basketball coming into the season out of that ACC.
Yeah.
Sure. That's all I really had.
All right, cool.
I'm just ready for some good football this weekend. I mean, like I said, I know Zay's in the comments. You're going to have to hit me up, Zay, and find out what we want to do with our 12 roads this week. Let me know. Man, let's see what chaos brings this week.
Yeah, I've been putting playoff brackets together too for y'all as we've been doing it. Even I wasn't able to get on, but I've been definitely doing my little playoff bracket. I had to send it to y'all for last week's because it was almost in matching up with how y'all had y'all's as well. But I'll definitely make a bracket after the game slate today and see what it looked like. But as we said before, man, check on your people. It's a big thing, man. Check on your people. And it's good to see nephew in here because I was thinking about, like I said, texting you as well. So it's always good to check on your people, man, as we've been saying.
Yeah, that's cool, Zay. I see your comment Sunday. Just hit me up what time you want to do whatever, and we'll get it together. Most definitely, Moss. Look, we all sports fans. We all we agree to disagree. We fight with each other. We'll argue with each other. But at the end of the day, we all just brothers in life, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. For sure.
Wait a minute. I don't know about that Zaya dude, man. I don't know if I like that Zaya dude that much, though.
Why? 22-17 Texas? He picked your team?
Yeah, I know. I'm just teasing him back because me and him go at it all day at work. And then when we see each other, we start smiling. You know, we give each other some love. You know how it is, man. It's my dude. Love Zaya, man.
God, man.
I think in college, just touching on college basketball real quick on the men's side, I think the freshman for Arizona, Cole Pete, just
No,
might be, yeah, just might be the best player in college basketball.
listen, man. Me and you gonna debate that all day long because I'm taking AJ the bouncer as number one, and he's not gonna stop. And I like my guy, man, Kyan Anthony, man. I've been watching this young kid since. I mean, I've been watching him since they had the show on MTV years ago when he was just shooting jumps outside the house. I love that kid's game, man, and just watching him learn from his pops. I think you learning from a Hall of Famer. So I mean, I definitely like your pick. He's him. He's nice. I think once he put it together and having that dog to let the game like keep coming to him, but just take over and being that man, like he's not a freshman but a senior. I mean, sky's the limit. Arizona definitely got on one with him for sure.
Isn't that Boozer? Isn't Cam Boozer over there at Duke a freshman?
Man, that boy's special, man.
Good Lord.
Hey, y'all see that breaking news on Franklin
Which one? For Penn State?
from
Former
Virginia
coach.
Tech?
Oh,
Yeah, they in talks.
Then talks, yeah.
oh. Well, go ahead and visit Dope Campbell today and be a part of that beatdown we trying to give out.
All right, y'all. Well, enjoy the rest of this Saturday slate of action. It's going to be a lot of really, really good football, a lot of meaningful football. And let's go Horns.
Nose Nation for sure.
We are ND.
We was in the building,
All right,
as City League say, we out.
And we out. All right, y'all. Have a good one, man. Peace.
All right, peace.
All right.
They're recording.